I really wanted to wear some Avatar The Last Airbender clothes that show the four major elements water, earth, fire, air because it would thematically be appropriate for this video. But unfortunately, I don't really have any other Avatar merch at this point of time, especially with the new Avatar The Last Airbender Netflix live action series coming out soon. Yeah, maybe I should really start collecting. Just need to see if I have a room in my house, actually. But at least you could say I'm trying to wear a shirt that's the color of the main characters, at least. At least there's that.
Marco! Follow!
What is up, guys? My name is Ryan World Movies, and happy Valentine's Day to you all. And I know I'm very late into the party with this, but this video is going to be my review on the movie Elemental, which came out last year. And it's a movie I attempted to go to for several times for months since it came out back in July last year in Hong Kong. But like how in the movie, the main characters couldn't really work things out due to their own personal reasons and lives, I ended up not being able to work out a free time to go due to my own personal reasons. So I've pretty much been holding on to this movie for the longest time, a very long time, but I was finally able to get around to it back in December when it was on Disney Plus. And I also want to make note that this was originally supposed to be in the form of a YouTube short, but I decided to make a complete 180 and do a full-form video in the last possible minute. One of my closest and dearest cousins and her now husband got married back in December, and it was a very heartwarming and momentous time of celebration where love and happiness can all be felt in the air. And I'm just so beyond happy for the two of them, and it was a long time coming. I've known her now husband for many years, and I'm just so beyond ecstatic for the two of them to finally see them tie the knot and finally get married. So, with that being said, since Elemental is another movie all about romance and love, I would like to take this opportunity to actually dedicate this video to them. And what a better time to do so than on Valentine's Day? Well, at least during the period of Valentine's Day, really. So, to my dearest and one of my most favorite cousins in the world, and not my now cousin-in-law, which I'm really excited to start calling you that, man. If you're watching this, you know who you are. This goes out to the both of you. And think of this as my online digital wedding gift of sorts to you. So yeah, this goes out to both of you. So, Elemental, after causing an accident at a convenience store that her father Bernie has spent his whole life building and owning, Ember Lumen, played by Leah Lewis, meets water element Wade Ripple, played by Mamoudou Athie. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing his name correctly, correct me if I'm wrong please. And together they embark throughout the city to find a way to prevent the shop from getting shut down, and while spending more time together, they realize they have growing feelings for one another. Despite them being opposite elements, this film is about them trying to get past that. So Elemental is Pixar's most recent and latest film, and I gotta say, overall in my opinion, and despite me trying to bring some good light into this, especially for this special occasion, since I'm dedicating this to the newly wedded couple, Elemental was kind of an average bag for me, and it's like half good, half bad. Let me explain. So let's start off with the positives, like I usually normally do with my videos. So the voice acting performances. From what I can hear, I can tell they put in their all, in absolute best. I can feel the differing emotions in their voice, which I don't know if we can call that a pun or not, as the characters and the world they're living in kind of looks like Inside Out. However, thanks to the voice performances, whether it be in terms of story, for example, the building relationship between Leah Lewis's Ember Lumen and Mamoudou Athie's Wade Ripple, or in terms of emotional impact, for example, Ember's parents, Birdie and Cinder Lumen's backstory, or in terms of comedy, for example, Catherine O'Hara's Brooke Ripple, who is Wade's mom in the movie. Actually, Wade's entire family was actually very funny to see. The relationships and chemistry between the characters seems believable, convincing, and just help to make them all the more relatable. This film also has some really nice, cool, stylish, artistic-looking shots that I really liked. For example, Ember walking underneath a train track with water falling on either side, Wade taking Ember to see the Vivisteria flower, Ember and Wade showing off their talents to each other, Ember and Wade having their first dance together, and some other cool-looking shots from Elemental City too. I also like some of the music composed by Thomas Newman, and the featured song Steal the Show by Love. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Sounded nice too, and it's worth a listen to on its own. But what impressed me the most was the movie's aesthetically pleasing visuals and animation. Like, this is the most vibrant and colorful Disney animated film I've seen since Zootopia. I like how they were able to create this fictional world of anthropomorphic elements and the types of buildings they live in, how they transport from place to place, their food, how they interact with other elements or objects related or made out of other elements, even name puns of some of the facilities and shops they walk around. And there were some moments in the movie that I know a lot of people couldn't relate to on a more personal level. And honestly, even for me, I could also relate to in some level or another. For example, living up to your family expectations, therefore the fear of standing up to your parents or your parents' thoughts of your decisions and actions as a result. Immigrating to a completely new place where you face discrimination right from the get-go with eyes staring at you. And yes, I had experience with this. This actually happened to me. Family heritages built up or coming from past trauma or very difficult hardships that the previous generations had to face to bring the next generation to good life. Making a relationship work between two people of two completely different backgrounds. Or whether it's having to be someone else in order to impress another party. And I appreciate how there's even some, how should I say it, dirty jokes thrown in there that for the adults in the audience, which one of them I literally had to search up in order to understand, which is it's the pruning joke for those who have watched it. And I'm 25 years old and I'm surprised I didn't even get it until I had to search it up.
Nothing weird going on here.
Just a little pruning.
In terms of my thoughts on the movie between the good and the bad, there really wasn't any, other than I wish we could have gotten more of the Earth element other than, these two characters, which it seemed like the Earth element was the black sheep of the movie. Like, up to the point where even air overshadowed Earth. Though to be fair, I did like the Elder Earth letter sorting guy, and the Earth kid was literally just there. And the fact that this movie's whole premise starts off is always based off the fact that Ember loses her temper and sets up the rest of the events of the movie has kind of gotten me going, it sounds cheesy, even though I'm usually a fan of this kind of concept where one small event can change or determine where your life will be heading. But anyways, now let's move on to the negatives, which I have plenty in order to balance out the positives, which should hopefully help to explain why this movie is so mediocre for me. First, to address this little kind of controversy behind this movie. Allegedly, the movie had some minor use of AI for their animation this time around, which is why some of the shots look so good, like visually stunning, as I've basically quoted earlier. Now that I know that, thinking back to it, now it makes plenty of sense, like, there are some aspects of the film that, they definitely resemble the current quality that AI can generate. And honestly, even though the film's shots still looked really beautiful, to say the least, and I may be rigid and stubborn in saying this, but honestly, I'm not a fan of how this film uses AI, nor am I a fan of how AI is being used in films and television shows in general, and unfortunately, they're not planning on stopping from there. It's just gonna be used in more things to come, and it's just becoming more popular. It just shows that the industry, in my personal opinion, is just becoming more laid back and too lazy and less passionate about their work, if that makes sense. And it's giving animators who are already working so hard to bring us these animated films a run for their money. Hence why they're actually out there protesting. Overall, other than the positives, Elemental really isn't a movie that I can personally consider one of Pixar's best, No one that I would necessarily go back to again and again to watch over and over and over again on repeat. Mainly because at the end of the day, we've seen, or most of us should have already seen by now, or know by now, these kinds of forbidden love stories out there, or stories about families preventing two from being together due to their differences, or stories about discrimination against different kinds of people for who they are, or even just because of who they marry or are in a dating relationship with. And we've seen that many, many, many times before, and this movie is just another one of those. Now, I'm not trying to say that there's anything wrong with producing these kinds of forbidden love stories, but with Elemental, unfortunately, the movie doesn't feel too different from what we've seen before. Therefore, in my opinion, it doesn't really feel like a fresh enough take on this kind of overused forbidden love story format. And there were a lot of moments throughout the movie that depicted one of the movie's core and central messages and conceptual ideas of discrimination between the elements living in Elemental City. But again, we've seen many, many stories revolved around discrimination of this kind of thing between two parties or two individuals in a relationship many times before in many movies and TV shows that came before it. And, showing images of discrimination of any kind in general too, for that matter. So much so that, in my opinion, it doesn't really feel original enough to come out of Pixar. Therefore, in my opinion, even though there was also moments in the movie, especially where Ember rejects Wade in order to not face rejection from her parents, who were right there in that moment, and it was pretty sad, and Bernie's whole character journey from when he left his old home and rejection from his own father, to seeing Ember move away, and it was pretty emotional to see that too, and even had a satisfying, heartwarming, full circle moment at the end between him and Ember. Yeah, despite moments like that in the movie, such as those two scenes, I just thought the movie wasn't emotional enough, or didn't reach or tug my heartstrings enough for me to feel a lot for the story, or for the characters as much as I hoped or expected this Pixar film to do to me. It didn't really help that Ember and Wade's relationship throughout the movie felt kind of fast-paced for me. In fact, this whole movie felt pretty rushed, to be honest. Like, after meeting as strangers, a chase ensues, an accident happens between them, they find a solution to that accident at a football match to go to together, and then they already have a romantic moment in a hot air balloon right after that, where their feelings are already starting to ignite. That all happens in the span of 50 minutes. And then their interactions were mostly romantic from there on out, as they spend more time together, obviously. They have a disruption to their relationship, but that gets resolved in less than 5 minutes. And like how my cousin and her now husband have gone there happily ever after, starting their new lives together, Ember and Wade start their new lives as a couple by the end of the movie, which I saw from a mile away. Overall, after putting all my thoughts together, in the end, it's just an average, if not kind of underwhelming movie for me, personally, in comparison to the more picture-perfect films that we usually expect out of Pixar. Yeah, like, see it if you want to, not one you necessarily have to see in theaters. Well, by the time this comes out, this is not in theaters anymore. But yeah, don't if you don't want to either. You can either watch it Disney Plus, or if you don't want to, that's fine too. I'm gonna leave it up to you. Or if you're really bored or looking for a passers-by's film to watch, or for you couples out there on Valentine's Day who are just looking for a typical romance drama to watch, then yeah, you can check us out if you want to. I'm gonna go ahead and give this movie a 6.7 out of 10 and a C+. Alright, that's gonna be my time. Don't forget to punch that subscribe button in the face! And be sure to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, and feel free to share this video around to anybody else you may know who may also be a Pixar fan, animation fan, or fan of romantic movies like this. Either way, it will help the channel out tremendously. And once again, I dedicate this movie review to the newly wedded couple of my dearest, one of my favorite cousins in the world, and her beloved husband as well, to my now cousin-in-law. Guys, this goes out to you both. I want to use this platform to sincerely wish you both all the best of health and fortune in your marriage, and I want to sincerely wish you both a wonderful new chapter of happiness, joy, memories, and love. Much love to you both, to your new lives together as a newly wedded married couple. 恭喜恭喜你哋! And yeah, that's it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in line for the next thing. Rhinos, roll out, take care.